much of this story came from when you traveled through India together, and how much of the little anecdotal things came from that, or how much did the story change from what you originally expected once you got there?
Well, we, just to tell a little bit how the story came about, Wes approached Jason and myself and presented the basic idea of doing a story about three brothers traveling in India and having this adventure, going on a spiritual journey, but having it end up being sort of a bender. And so we started working and started using personal stories from our lives and experiences that we had, and sort of cobbled together the first 50 pages or so, just based on our own experiences and things that we told stories to one another, picked all the little pieces and composed this story. Then we went to India and we kind of compared notes with the things we'd written and imagined with the things that we actually saw, and we began to act it out and began to improvise and expand on the story. And at that point we started to collect real experiences from our travels in India and weave them into the story that we had written. And so it's sort of a combination of things. I'm facing the wrong direction. Wes, you want to take on that?
No.
One thing many of your fans will notice in this film is in the credits you changed the way the actors' names were written, so their entire name is capitalized. Is there a reason you changed this?
No, no real reason. That we just wrote it on the credits the same way it's written on the train. The other way was kind of a old-fashioned way that I used to use, but on this one I thought I'd try something different.
Could you elaborate on the short that you created that ties into this movie, and we were wondering if you plan to submit it for the Oscars?
Well, the short we made separately from the movie a year before the movie. And so once the movie was done and the short was done, we sort of had to then figure out how are we going to present these two films. And what we eventually decided was we'd like the movie to open by itself, because the opening scene of the movie is very much intended to be an opening. You know, there's a character we meet and we don't know who he is, and then it leads us to another one and we don't know who he is, and so on. It's a sort of series of mysteries. So we wanted the movie to initially play that way, and that's why we made the short available on iTunes, where you can get it for free. So that's already available to anybody who wants to get it. And then at a certain point in the release of the film, we'll add the short in there. I think it's already qualified for that, for what you're asking about. But you know, that's just I don't know if it's really the sort of thing that they're interested in or not.
One last question is: you've worked with both Roman and Wes before, separately. This is the first time you worked with both of them. How did the dynamic change between you and them on this movie?
My experience with Wes was different than it was on Rushmore, because on Rushmore I had no film set experience. I had never really had any acting experience, so my dynamic was just much more frightened, as opposed to this movie, which I was just frightened. Rushmore was way more frightened, and on this one also we are friends in a way that I didn't know Wes really before we shot Rushmore. In this we have 9 to 10 years of friendship under our belt, real friendship. So the rope is much longer to go bungee jumping with. You know what I'm saying? We can go much farther and know that we can come back together as friends and as collaborators. In terms of Roman, my dynamic is just much better than it's ever been before. On CQ, I had a very small part in the film, and so I didn't get to work with him as much as I wish I had. In this film, we spent 3 years of our lives together almost every day, writing and shooting a movie together. So it was much more intensive.
Can you say, is there a way the bungee cord has changed with you and Roman?
Well, with Roman and I, the bungee cord is an umbilical cord.
We work without a net.
Yeah, we work without a net in this case. We just go for it because we're family, so the bungee cord was already in place right when I was born.
I'm Matt.
Matt?
Nice to meet you.
Wes.
Yeah.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
I like your shirt.
Thanks.